G'day, I'm Ben from Cash Pro Australia.
And I'm BJ from TBL Property Maintenance, and this is Lawn Care Skull Sessions. Boom! What's cracking, my friend?
Beautiful weather at the moment and coming off a nice long weekend.
I know. How good was it?
It was really good. I was pretty busy sort of coming into it. I know you were too, taking on all that extra work.
Yeah.
But hey, we had really nice weather. I hooked in yesterday and, because we had a fair bit of Cash Pro orders to get out.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Like, once I've had, say, 2 or 3 days, I'm pretty much itching to do something.
Yeah.
So there's no dramas for me. Had plenty of family time and I was able to fulfill all the orders.
Oh, that's good.
How about you?
I was avoiding my wife and youngest son for the first few days. They have some shitty virus that I did not want a part of. My wife is still sick after 5 days. It's not Kofifi. She's tested on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
The young fella's come good now, and she's still pretty average, but I'm hoping that she'll be up for a pass in a few days.
One of my daughters came in barking the other night with the kid.
Go. Whoa.
But they pulled up sweet in the morning, and today was their first day back.
Yeah, back to school.
And they went without, any dramas, which is always an upside.
I think it's a novelty going to school these days, isn't it?
Well, I mean, look, after you're coming off the back of, 2 weeks, I was G'ing the kids up, like, you get to see your friends.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it's boring as hell around here. I've got work to do. So, no, they had a good day.
Yeah, my middle girl was straight back into it. She had cross country today. I was like, are you fucking serious? We just had 2 weeks lounging around, although she did do training the first week for dance, but cross country on the first day back.
Yeah, it's heavy. That maybe they because I know my kids did it a while ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they missed out.
I know I did it a while ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
So look, we've got a pretty cool topic today. We're going to get into that topic shortly, but before we do, we're going to dedicate this episode to the memory of Jack Vandergeesen, who is my nephew. Now, my brother's family, they, 3 years ago, his wife fell pregnant with twins.
Yep.
And during the pregnancy, they realised that so they pregnant with twin boys. One of the boys, unfortunately, had a condition called anencephaly, which is not easy to pronounce.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they gave birth to the boys, and 13 hours after birth, Jack passed away. So we just wanted to dedicate this show to the memory of Jack Vandergeesen and my brother's whole family. And along with that, maybe share something a little bit about that experience. Now, you and your family, everyone knows, whilst not as extreme as this, but you guys go through stuff and have to go through the funding and all of that stuff.
Yeah, very happy to support a good cause. And the Hummingbird House, a lot of friends and family have used that sort of situation. It's not a great place to be in, but it's good that support is there. So yeah guys.
And so my brother's family basically they were put up in this Hummingbird House, which is a facility in Brisbane. They received world-class care.
Yeah.
And today, if we could just take a moment to put yourself in the situation of some of these families that go through hardship, we would also be fully stoked if you could make a donation to Hummingbird House. The website is www.hummingbirdhouse.org.au. And help people. This is all a big community,
huge community.
My brother has done an amazing job. Really,
he's raised a lot of money for the Hummingbird House.
He's done a lot of funding. It's something that he's very passionate about, and he's very thankful for the time. That they did experience, even though it was a very traumatic time. Yeah, they were looked after, and it helped them get through that grieving process. Yeah. And every year, I'm sure it's as hard as the previous, but if we could just take a moment to give them a shout out and say that we're thinking of you, then that is perfect.
Love you, Dave and family.
All right, so today we're going to get right into the episode. I don't know if this is controversial or not, but we're going to be talking about catching, mulching, and side throwing.
Yeah.
So, this is something, look, this is as talked about as,
stand on versus sit down, whippy guards, fucking, yeah, it's not controversial.
Scat versus,
what's that?
Stanley or something?
Fucking,
Are they comparable?
I don't know. Red Rockets, I don't know. There's, every time something goes up about catching versus mulching, realistically, like, side discharge is on the fringe, but catching versus mulching is normally the question that pops up the most.
Yeah, and we're going to include side throwing today just because it is a style along with it. I don't think it's a comparable service, but it's still a service nonetheless.
Yeah.
We all have to do it. Look,
if you're into your acreage, that's where you're at. Like, I've seen some crazy acreages Kyle's doing on his 72. He ain't fucking catching that.
Yeah, I think when we talk about this now, I obviously, I didn't even consult with you, but I put a post up on LMCA last night.
We tag me in it. That's like consulting someone these days, isn't it?
I guess. We put a post up and, explain, hey guys, look, we're going to be doing this topic. It'd be great to get some feedback.
Yeah.
It would have been great if we could have someone sit in.
Yeah.
Who, but just to get another perspective. However, we got an overwhelming response.
It's like 120 comments or something.
Yeah, and, as we say, there's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot of meat on the bone.
A lot of meat on the bone in this episode. So, before we sort of get into some of these points, just wanted to quickly ask you, what percentage of your jobs, out of all the jobs, now we know that you run some large sites, you do some acreage mowing, and you have some beautiful sites as well.
Yeah.
What sort of percentages of jobs are caught or mulched or
I'd
side
say probably 80% of catch jobs. 80% catch and the other are just side discharge. I don't do a lot of mulching as per se. I don't actually have a dedicated mulch rig at all.
Okay, so that's cool. Now, just while we're on that, are we gonna consider chute blockers as a mulch kit? Because personally, and I'm a reseller of this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really in the mindset that a chute blocker is a chute blocker.
Yeah.
It is there to control the discharge clippings.
Yeah.
So OCDC, operator controlled discharge chute.
I get it.
In your experience, you can mulch with them under certain conditions, right?
Yeah. I definitely have. There's nothing better than throwing the little flap down, the ACS unit, and dropping it across some fucking dirty big leaf piles and mincing it up and then just discharging it out into thin air sort of thing.
You're not going to give the Pro Shield any love right now?
Yeah, well, the Pro Shield's on the 32, so I use that more like a OCDC. So I don't really,
Well, and that's probably because in those tighter areas and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to be smashing shit up against someone's window.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, it's more the Tiger Cat. I use the ACS and I drop that and I'll use that to mulch. Sometimes even on, like, if we've had to miss a service, I'll run over something with the chute blocker down and then I'll just vacuum it up with the Catch Pro.
Okay, cool. So we'll get there because I'm glad you mentioned that. We'll get there. Now, in Greenscape Solutions, personally, I'd say with our clientele base, I reckon we're probably 50-50 with catching and side throwing.
Yeah, you got a bit more acreage than me, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm hoping we didn't confuse anyone on the thread last night. And look, if you weren't involved in the thread, we're gonna cover all of that, so I don't think you missed out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good topics there, but if you have a business, where you don't mow a property under an acre, or even two acres, whatever, this topic is really not going to, this is not about you or anything like that, because, as veterans in this game, there's no way in the world that we would ever consider catching 2 acres, right?
No. I have, however, so one of my customers got some Empire Zosia laid, and I did catch a shitload. I had this. He wanted it scalped back, so I scalped it and then I floated over it. But again, I used the discharge chute.
Yeah. Now I've got a paddock out here at the back, which is probably a little less than an acre. Now I catch that, right? It's mine.
But you catch it weekly, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean sometimes twice a week.
Oh, shit.
Now if you walk out there now, I've got clippings everywhere because I left it. We've had some bad rain.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to get to it, and so we're gonna cover all of those topics as well.
Grows fast out there though.
Yeah, very aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, Queensland blue cooch. However, in my own business, if a client rings me up for a 2-acre property, and is saying, look, I want this caught, I would be doing everything in my power to try and get that client to consider a side throwing service. If they were adamant that they want it caught, well, they're going to be paying a very high price. We do have some notes in the residential pushmo market. We will get there soon.
Yep.
I think first what I want to do is maybe walk everyone through a few points, things to consider.
Sounds good.
So BJ, the things to consider when you're choosing your application, right? So this is the catching, the mulching, and the side throwing.
Yep.
Grass variety. Now, how important is grass variety to all of these topics?
Fucking massive. So I probably would catch on a cooch, mulch on a buffalo, discharge on a Pespalan, and just rubbish grass. It's all the other ones, say like Empire and things like that, I'd probably catch as well. But yeah, definitely like the different grass types will definitely make me think what I'm going to do. Because when you mulch, or even when you side discharge buffalo, it sort of falls in really nice.
Yeah.
Cooch, not so much. I think it's a bit dusty sometimes. It depends on your lawn anyway. But yeah, I don't think it comes up as nice as it does on a buffalo.
Now, even when we go through these points, so grass variety is just the first point.
Yeah.
There's still so many variables there, right? So if I say grass variety, and you say, yes, I would mulch a Sir Walter lawn.
Yeah.
Or a Kikuyu, did I say that right?
I think so.
I just say kick, eh?
Yeah, so do I. We don't see it very often up here. I've got one place that has a bit of kick in it, and that's it.
Yeah, we see it a little bit.
On the acreages more? I don't see it in a residential situation very often.
Not very often. But to the point, even when you're talking about grass varieties now, if you're doing 2 acres of Sir Walter, you're side throwing that shit, right?
Yeah.
You ain't messing around with the mulching, right?
I mean, you could, if you had a dedicated mulch kit on, I might consider doing it, because it shouldn't really. It depends on your service frequency too.
Okay, so if you had a business where you had a dedicated mulch kit installed, so just imagine you've got, what are the SCAG called, the Hurricane?
So, yeah.
Is it called the Hurricane?
Yeah, the mulch kit, yeah.
The mulch kit? So you had that installed, I'm not 100% familiar, but there's baffles and
there's
all
bits and
sorts of
pieces
shit, right?
going. Yep.
Then you go to the 40 acres where you've got blue cooch and all sorts of shit.
All sorts of raggedy shit.
You're unbolting that thing, right?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going to talk quickly about the length and thickness. Now, obviously, this goes hand in hand with grass varieties, but if you get called, to a block slash or just a lawn that's, way out of control, that's definitely something to consider, right?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I haven't got a mulch kit, because, sometimes, in Queensland we get a lot of rain during summer, and I just don't want to be fucking bolting that on, bolting it off, bolting it back on again. Then I've got so many customers that use, like, the catching service, so mulching doesn't really fit in to my business unless I can do it with the Pro Shield or the ACS.
Fair enough. Talk to me about leaf debris because
that's another big one.
I probably live in the leafiest place that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And, people think that I'm very one-sided on this because I'm Mr. Catch Pro. But I'm really down to earth in terms of, like, if a potential Catch Pro customer rings me, so I'm not talking about greenscapes, I'm talking about a contractor or a homeowner that is interested in a Catch Pro. And, they tell me that let's say they live, I'm just going to select Jimboomba, right?
Yep.
Jimboomba is a suburb, I don't even know which fucking way it is, but it's a suburb somewhere, lots and lots of 1 to 2 acre lots.
Yeah.
Now, if a homeowner rings me and they say, look, I live in Jimboomba, I've got, let's say an acre block, got a house on it, we got a driveway, we've got an entertainment area, we've got, a couple of patches, say 400 squares there, 300 here, whatever the case. Is the Catch Pro right for me? Now, I will always say that, look, you're probably getting to the maximum part of it, but if you really love your lawn, then the Catch Pro will suit you.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a contractor in that area and your main core business is, say, 1 to 2 acre lots, I wouldn't be recommending the Catch Pro as a dedicated catching system. Not to say that I would necessarily, recommend a mulching kit.
Yeah.
Because I just think there is so many variables.
So you're thinking more like a walker or a
walker
or something.
A walker would be perfect.
Like a navigator.
A walker or any type of direct. I mean, Gianni. I think they're the only three.
Grillo. No, there's a Grillo one.
Okay, and you've got other blower systems that would be more than capable of doing those types of.
Yeah.
You could get a Skag with one of their.
Yeah, well, that's what actually mowed the Grand Prix.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that was pretty cool.
So if you were a contractor that wanted to do dedicated catching, in that environment, probably not. If I get called up and there's a contractor that does a variety of jobs and they have a brand new village with 300 meter long nature strips, and all sorts of stuff like that, then the Catch Pro is perfect.
Yeah,
because you can take that thing off when you don't need to catch. If there's a paddock, take it off in 2 seconds, side throw the paddock, come out onto the main road, and sometimes these places have 300 meters long of a footpath.
I don't have any developments at the moment, but I know what you mean.
And I don't think it makes sense in any way, shape or form to really push mow that if you have a zero turn.
No.
And I think the safest way and the way that you can provide the best service is, let's say a Catch Pro or, whatever. There's grass gobblers and other things out there. Now, I know we sort of touched on it a little bit just then, but we've got equipment, including blades, etc. So when when we're sort of touching on that, obviously there's different blade options.
Yeah, mulching, high lift, medium lift, low lift.
X-blades.
Sand. Is there sand blades? I heard someone had sand blades. They're basically flat. They don't really have a kick on them at all. I saw a thread, I think, in LMCA about sand blades.
You might have caught me on the spot there.
Sorry about that.
But I don't know, maybe it's like a WA thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Something. I don't know. But, obviously, if you're going to be running any sort of dedicated mulch system, you want a pair of gaiters.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that you can't use gaiters with a Catch Pro or any other
No, well,
system.
I've got...
Well, I mean, we
I've got gaiters for the 32. Mm-hmm. I've got gaiters for the 48, but most of the time I'm using the medium lift or the high lift because I like to like most of my clients to catch.
Yeah. I mean, I use a high flow bar on my Skag for around here in the jobs that I do.
Yeah.
On the KG that Rusty runs, he's essentially using a high lift. But whether it is gator or a high lift or even a medium lift, I still think so it's probably more about like if you're running a dedicated mulch system, you don't want to mess with high lifts.
Nah.
Because what happens is you're creating so much wind flow and you're getting blowout around the decks.
Yep.
Just quickly, someone had mentioned, maybe we'll come back to it, the X-Blade system.
Yep.
Now, the X-Blade system is like perfect for side throwing.
Yeah.
Really?
For side throwing?
Oh, yeah, man. The amount of wind that like, it just throws it out. I think where we get a little bit confused, you know, especially in the American market, you know, like I've done all my testing with the Catch Pro.
Yep.
And, you know, it'll pack the catcher great.
Yeah.
But my goodness, there is a lot of airflow. Like if you're in a dusty area, forget it. And if you're doing lots and lots of leaves, a lot of leaves are being because they just can't get in the Catch Pro quick enough.
Yeah.
They're coming out the front of the deck and you're double cutting, you're doing all sorts of things. So whilst the X-Blade is an excellent system, I think that is your side throw market.
Yeah, so just stick to your normal sets when you're using the Catch Pro.
Yeah, so
high lifts, you recommend high lifts?
No, so I just think it's still too much airflow. So the X-Blade system, you know, and I sell this system, right?
Yeah.
Look, I think it's fantastic, but I still think it's something that was made, marketed, and used and tested in the American market.
Yeah.
Where they're still doing this. They're still tipping.
Yeah.
You know, and so they float over that, and that shit just like you don't see it.
No.
In Australia, we're still taking off more than 1/3 of the leaf.
Yep.
You know, we're scalping. We're doing all sorts of stuff, and the extra weight on the spindles and everything will, you know, even though it's spitting it out, when you're doing tall grass and stuff like that, you're still putting a lot of strain on everything. So, for example, in the summertime, on my Skag, I'll run the X-Blades.
Yep.
For, you know, like the jobs that I do, which is mostly just side throwing jobs. And I still have to use the mower here, but because it's me using it, I can sort of, you know,
I know what you mean.
I can work the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So also, let's talk about the seasons, right?
Yeah.
So seasons are another thing to consider. Like, you know, if you were going to have a dedicated mulching business, or let's say you were going to mess with the concept, like what season to you sounds the best?
I'd say winter. So yeah, unless it's a really dusty winter, then you're going to get grass bukkake all day. But yeah, I think winter, it's all right. You can hide a bit of stuff in winter. There's not as much growth, so you can really just lightly tip everything. It depends on your customer frequency again. So at one of my villages, we'll normally go monthly, and then we can still basically float over everything and just tip it. We don't catch all of it, and I think it kind of helps. We have implemented not mulching as such, but when it was really thick, like I was at Meadowlands, my one at Meadowlands, so I was floating over it and then coming back and collecting. So it was, it's just been a weird season. Mm-hmm. It's been a bizarre season. I have never considered mulching before, but this year it definitely crossed my mind.
Yep. Now, so I've heard you bring up this concept of, you know, floating over it and then catching it after twice now. So I was going to get there a little bit later, but let's just touch on it now while it's been brought up twice.
Yeah.
Just explain to everyone that exact concept. So maybe I'll make it a little bit easier for you. If you rock up to a place, there's a fair bit of growth.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So basically, I'm taking the top off, especially now it's starting to get really dewy. I'll take the top off and I'll let it lay for a bit. And because I'm doing big sides, I'll just do a rotation. So I'll do all the main areas, and then by the time I get back, all the clippings have laid, the dew's gone, and I can just vacuum it all straight up. And I don't have a problem with, like, you know, if I'm... You know how your deck gets sticky, your fucking intake on the Catch Pro gets sticky, and I just float over it. It actually yeah, it comes up mint. Like, it really does come up awesome. I've taken heaps of good photos.
And on the flip side to that, if you were to just roll straight in there, let's start with the Catch Pro. If you're going to roll straight in there with the Catch Pro, you're probably working pretty hard for your money.
I'd probably have to cut it high and then cut it low.
So no matter what it could
I'd
be
probably double cut, yeah.
And then with a dedicated mulch kit, I know that you don't have a ton of experience, but with a dedicated mulch kit, you're probably looking at doing double passes anyway.
I think, yeah, because it's so thick, I just don't think I'd get away with going over it once.
Now, on a typical, let's say, residential day, and I know it's hard because you don't do a ton of it, but you have done it before.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say you don't have the ability to, do the system where you're working your way around, letting the clippings settle.
Yeah.
You're in a lawn. It's got to be done and dusted in 20 minutes.
I would just persist with a catcher, I think.
And you don't think, because we do the same thing too at some jobs, now I have a saying for it, it's called taking the bulkiness out.
Yeah.
So, we put whatever shoe blockers, we're mostly using Pro Shields now, but we use the ACS, for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would essentially hit it with the shoe blocker down to get that bulkiness out, and then we'd bung the Catch Pro on, lift up a 1/4 inch.
Yep.
Because you don't want to cut any new grass.
No.
And the thing is as well, if you change your pattern, so like let's say you're doing up and down rows,
yep,
and you got the ACS, then you chuck the catcher on and you go crossways, you're going to be cutting new grass.
Yeah. Yeah. I normally will just go over the windrows, just straight up the windrows.
You go up a 1/4 inch. Hey, sometimes 1/2 inch if you can. I just find sometimes if you go up 1/2 inch, you'll just be leaving that tiniest little bit
of fluff.
If you keep, if you just go up a 1/4 inch, it'll vacuum really nicely.
Yeah.
Now it does depend on how much you discharge.
Yeah.
If you got like huge massive clumps, you could be also in for a world of hurt. But no, that's just to basically explain that process, and we do have more information and some good comments on that particular style.
Now I find if I left it, or even if I just side discharged it, it would look shit. And I'm guessing like with mulching, I'd get those clippings a bit finer, but I'd still get a bit of fluff on top.
So, if you're talking about morning dew, I think what the big issue there with mulching is that, in a dedicated mulch plug, is that the system is not really being allowed to do what it's supposed to do. And, when you've got your Gator blades or cheap plug Wolverine blades from Catch Pro, the blades are designed to, when the grass goes around, the grass is designed to go straight up into the top of the deck and come back down and be cut again. Yeah. Thus, making it finer.
So I wonder if if your travel speed has to go down.
Oh, look, I think, and it's exactly the same with any style of mowing. If you're going faster, if your speed is just going too fast for the application, it's just going to do a shit job. You're going to either be leaving stragglers, or it's just not going to be cutting evenly. Yeah. But what I was sort of going back to about the dewy mornings and stuff, your grass is not going to be floating free up. It's just going to be caking up everywhere. And what you'll quite often see, what happens is when they disengage or engage the PTO, you get a full grass bukkake. It just goes like.
So when I was teaching Will how to use the zero turn, he fucking did it over the top of some white concrete and just fucking bukkake central.
So we talked a little bit about the season. Now I've got here conditions. We pretty much touched on that. I don't think we'll mess with that any longer.
Yeah, fuck rain.
Actually, let's just quickly touch on the conditions. You got wet, dust, right?
Yeah.
So like, even
the extremes.
When you're using the Catch Pro, dust is not good, right?
Oh no, I've got a dust shield on mine, but yeah, it's still like you still get a bit.
I think the dust shield really helps.
Definitely helps, but
it helps the operator.
Yeah,
but you've still got surround.
All the oldies get bukkakeed instead of you.
So what we had to do, and there'll be still times of the year. Actually, where I live down the bottom there, because my neighbours are assholes. I actually quite often we'll just give it a real light hose, just where I got patchy areas, because I love to clean up all my leaves.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm mowing patches that don't have a big presence of actual grass.
Yep.
It's just a lot of leaves sitting on top of like light dirt. And I just love using the Catch Pro to just get all those leaves out. So sometimes I'll get a light hose. Now, look, I think if you're using a dedicated mulch kit, I don't know that the dust is that bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, like I think just because everything's being recycled and it's not throwing out. Now, side throwing in dust, also not good, eh?
Yeah, but it's away from me, so normally we'll take off.
If you can do some sort of strategic mowing, which used to be a big thing, like when we would talk to our workers, we would talk about strategic mowing.
Oh, the 40 acres when it's windy and you make a turn and you just get fucking pumped. Yeah, get those bukkake eyes.
So now what I want to do is I want to go through some advantages and disadvantages of every concept. Now, look, I've got here 5 advantages of, let's say, each style, and I haven't actually met 5 points on every concept, but that's okay. We'll get there. Okay, so 5 advantages of mulching. It's just straight up easier. Correct?
Way easier. Yeah.
Now, I also have another point. It's quicker. Now, I don't know if that's a cop-out because easier and quicker, can kind of be tied into the same thing. So for anyone who's not familiar with any of these styles, complete newbie, can you walk us through...
Wait, it's easier to have a wank, but it's quicker to get a blowjob.
I can't believe you said the blow word on here.
Get a BJ.
I gotta get me some BJ. So quickly walk through everyone. Just 2 or 3 points. Why is mulching easier and quicker?
Well, I mean, obviously you're not
actually fuck my next points.
You're not having to empty the catcher. Number 1.
That's one fucked up point for my next thing, but yeah, that's all right.
Number 2, you're not taking away green waste. Fucked another point. Apologies. I think it's just quicker because you're fucking mowing. You don't have to look back, really. I don't know. I'm not an expert at mulching. That's why I'm a bit hesitant to say that it is quicker, because sometimes I'm guessing you will have to double cut. Like you will have to float over twice to get the clippings to lay correctly. Yeah.
Now, even though you don't have a dedicated mulching system, the ones that you use with the shoot blocker, it's obviously a quicker process.
Yeah.
So you can understand.
Yeah.
If you were mulching in perfect conditions, you're going in, you're running a line on every single thing.
Yeah.
You're out of there.
That's it.
So that would be now. Fun fact. We got this directly from Lawn Solutions. That's the source.
Facts.
Recycling grass clippings back into a lawn can actually account for up to 25% of the lawn's annual nitrogen requirements. So we are probably going to get a little bit more into this topic later on, because there's a few myths, a few wives' tales, a little bit of controversies. Or controversies. Controversies if you want to be a weirdo.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. Now, we've got 5 disadvantages here of mulching. So, we've got clumping.
Yeah.
Now, I think, and I don't want to be misleading. If you're using a mulch kit, you're not going to get a clumped finish every time.
No, but if you're doing...
I'm talking about, maybe if you were doing the summer that we had here in Queensland.
Something with wet feet.
Yeah, definitely. So, maybe that was a little bit sneaky.
Yeah. It's just like saying it's quicker. If you're fucking clumping half the lawn up, you're going to have to go back and blow it and redistribute the clippings yourself.
Yeah, sure.
So does that take another fucking half an hour to do that?
Oh, I mean, whatever.
Depends how quick you are on the blow.
Now, I have here less tidy.
Shit.
Come at me, eh?
Yeah.
So, what do you think, pal?
I think it's less tidy. I definitely prefer the look, and these are just my personal opinions. I prefer the look of a court lawn to a mulch lawn, and I always have.
Yeah. Now I got no issue saying this, and I can completely justify my comments. Look, I don't think there's anything sexier than a lawn that has been caught.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even further to the point, I also don't think there's anything sexier than a push mow.
Yeah.
Now, you can't... No, I know that I sell, a zero-turn accessory and I fully push that concept. I still do believe in it, but that's... I think, if we were going back 5 years or 10 years and, it just wasn't a thing yet...
No.
I really do think that, when you look back, or if you see photos, now look, we can see, I see your photos all the time. I know that you don't fuck around. They're not like cropped and bloody,
no.
All that stuff. And you do some absolutely beautiful work.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about, turning a big machine on a heavy lawn or, lining up those rows and everything like that, like that push mower kind of just has that little bit more precise feel.
Yeah, well, I will say, so the SFC 30 is a finishing mower and it comes up fucking sexy. But we've also got a Bush Ranger SP 800. We had one in the past. Now we got the one with the Lonson on it. Both
that's
excellent.
A good one anyway.
Yeah, I like them both.
We've got the Lonson.
Yeah, well, I'm about to buy a brand new one from a customer. He's like, I don't know why I bought this, so if I can just sell it to you. I'm like, for discounts? So, I don't know. But, so I can line up my photos side by side, and the 32 actually gets a very, very similar cut to the 30, and the 30 gets a similar cut to the Bush Ranger. So
sure.
I feel like there's not a huge amount of difference, and then, the 48 obviously is a bigger deck, so you can see a bit more, like the lines get bigger and it changes a bit. But I do kind of get what you're saying. I don't mind the old Honda that I've got, the 196 Heritage with the full chute.
Yeah, so I've got the 195.
Yeah, you're old school.
Yeah, I got the old school one, and I got a Bush Ranger battery mower, like the little domestic one. And I'm telling you now, I'm on half an acre here around the house. And I got an acre. Obviously, I don't fucking mess with the push mowers out in the paddock. But, sometimes, say, around now, April, May, I will pick a nice afternoon and there's nothing more therapeutic to me than, just chilling out, running those lines. You're not taking off a ton of grass because it's cooler. Now, if you go back even just 3 or 4 weeks ago, man, I got the Skag off, I got the Catch Pro out, and I'm smashing that thing as quickly and as efficiently as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So, when we talk about less tidy, I'm all in on catching.
Yeah.
Okay, wet conditions. Now, I think it's just a huge disadvantage when you're mulching, right? Now, don't get me wrong.
I think either way, it's shit for catching as well.
It's shit for mowing.
Yeah.
Can we just fucking say that?
It's fucking trash.
Shit for mowing.
These poor bastards down south have been fucking copping a shitload of rain. Looks like
Fuck them. What about us up
We're
here?
going to cop a big juicy bukkake from the sky as well.
Bloody hell. I'm taking on water in the shed.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm fucking, my house is crying.
So... Look, I've got a note here saying that, your mower can bog down or labour, and this is a disadvantage of mulching. Now, I guess that... Actually, I don't reckon it would happen.
I think you'd have to have your fucking blades on point for mulching. You'd have to have some...
In demanding conditions,
fucking,
right?
Yeah, well, you've already got the water that's, slowing your blade rotation down. Then you've got... if you've got these blunt fucking spoons, then you're going to struggle straight again.
Now, I've got another point here. kids or animals walking grass clippings through the house or unwanted areas.
Oh yeah,
Now,
that's a real fucker.
I gotta be honest, man. Now, look, if you are mulching one of those beautiful, Sir Walter any sort of, any good buffalo.
Yeah.
Look, I think that happens a lot less. But essentially, when you're mulching, you're leaving an ever so slight, and even in perfect conditions.
Yeah.
When you're mulching, you're recycling those clippings back into the grass. So on a dewy morning, let's say you even mow, and then the next morning you go out to get the paper, or I don't know. I don't even think...
Get some durries.
Is there even a paper anymore?
Yeah, I think our neighbours get the paper.
You know what I mean? You just trodden through all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Now, that is probably... It's not the only reason why I catch out the back. Or around here. But, you throw the ball out to the dogs and they come back and you're like, where the fuck are you been?
I totally understand. So we've got a little courtyard that's buffalo, and I would mulch that if my kid wasn't in and out. He does like water play on he's not on the grass, but he's got like this artificial turf corner, and he plays with water and he fucking runs through the grass, and even there's like leaves and shit from the trees. He'll still get covered in shit, but yeah, I'm not keen on having grass through, and I'm not keen on my wife seeing grass. She'll be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, well, when, let's say a couple of months ago, when I was still mowing very regularly, I would park the truck with the trailer out in the paddock every day. Like, that's where I'd park the rig. And if I'd had a busy weekend or whatever, and I just side thrown without catching, like, I'm just walking shit all through me Ram truck.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's haggis, man. Like, it's full on. So the very last point is that too many clippings on a lawn can cause the grass to either burn or lose colour. Now, I think if you're mulching correctly, that's probably not really going to be a factor. I think that's probably a little bit more down the side throw lane.
Yeah.
And look, sometimes it has to happen. Like, I think it depends a lot on either what the client wants or how much they're willing to pay. I just think that there's a lot of meat on the bone with all of these concepts.
It's crazy. There's so much to consider when you're I know there's people out there that probably have complete mulching businesses, and my hat's off to them. Like, it's a good, if you can do it, do it. I'm not saying that, it's bad or anything. I'm just saying that it doesn't suit my business.
Yeah, no, neither am I. So I'm not saying that either. I think, look, I would love to try a dedicated mulch kit again.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't suit my business at all. Like, when we're at the village, there's just so many leaves. We have a whole system where, and I know I hope you guys still do this, but we start off on, we do our village zone by zone.
Yep.
And we start off, we do all the hedges.
Yep.
Then we edge everything. And then, man, we get the blowers out, and it's as much of a task as any other, scope or any other works that we've done.
Blowing.
Yeah, we blow all the stuff into the grass, and even like your little trenches where you do your upright edges. I like to get all clean, and I kick everything up, and then, man, we just vacuum that shit clean.
All of it. Yeah.
And
that's what we do.
Even though a mulch kit is capable of doing it, I just don't think it's capable of doing it to the same level as a catching.
Nah, I don't think so either. I've personally, because most of my shit's at villages too, so I literally put everything onto the grass and use it just like a big vacuum. I just vacuum everything up, and yeah, it works perfectly for us. We do it at every site. Like, there's only a couple of commercials that I don't catch, and 40 acres.
Where it makes fucking sense, right?
Yeah, where it makes sense. And that's about it. Like, I really do not have a lot of mulching jobs. And when I had my residential runs, I didn't either. Everything was a catch. Like, I didn't have anyone that everybody wanted to be caught. But in saying that, everyone fucking pays for the pleasure of having their grass caught.
So, we're just going to have to come back to that, pal.
Oh,
I know where you're going. We'll wait till we get into the thread.
I'm out.
No, hey, don't be like that.
I'm trying not to fucking steal future comments.
That's why we should probably like rehearse the show and stuff. But it's good when it's organic, right? So,
yeah, that's it.
By the way, this is probably the first episode in I'd say at least 10 episodes where I've done some research.
This is the most notes we've ever had, and I didn't do any of them.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, you produced the show.
Look at me, man. I'm fucking straight here after work.
That's right, and I've just been fucking sitting here waiting for you all day doing.
I know. I've been talking to him.
So, all right, now that was the advantages and disadvantages of mulching. We're going to move on to the advantages and disadvantages of catching. Mm-hmm. But before we do, let's talk about bad workwear.
Bam!
So, hey, with it, I think it was like, 16 degrees last night?
Yeah, it's coming.
We are almost ready to put a flanny on.
Steve Ween, that's a fucking sick jumper you got, buddy.
Does he have one?
He got a rain defender.
Chromo.
Yeah.
Great friend of the show. Now, also, Gary Ashton from Aussie Law.
Oh, yeah.
Showed us his pins.
He did.
They are a sexy set of pins.
They are a sexy set of pins.
Man, if he didn't say they were his, I'd be like, who is that?
Does he shave them? I didn't see. I didn't look that close.
They look pretty slick to me.
Yeah.
He's also wearing the Rain Defend hoodie.
Nice. This season has been the best season to have a Rain Defend hoodie.
Yeah. Oh. Well, okay.
It looks like it's getting even worse.
I don't know how well the rain... Like, I've got one, and I never even contemplated bringing it out in the summertime.
Nah.
Even
I can't wear anything.
Ever.
Nah.
You're already like a big hoodie anyway.
I know. I wish that I was like a duck, and the more hair I had on me, like the better the rain just beat it off. Maybe I can just oil myself up and just mow with no shirt on in the rain. Do you reckon that'd get some wins?
Okay, so we'll have to come back to the ad for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when I used to, do all my mowing in the rain and stuff, this is like way back in our residential place. Me and Kyle, we used to take our shirts off.
Oh, yes.
To mow. To mow in the rain.
Yeah.
And then when you get back in the rig, you got something dry to put on.
Did you carry towels and shit so you could just towel off?
Nah, we were just dumb fuck teenagers who just didn't think ahead about anything. We were just like, should we just take our fucking shirts off so it's not wet?
And then your car just smells like old dog's balls.
And then because we were like young and tanned and didn't have the bad bodies yet, we'd just be like just glistening all day.
Even when I was young, I had a dad bod. I would have been glistening with sweat and grass and fucking pasty whiteness.
So tell everyone where they can get this bad workwear and what code to use.
Go to badworkwear.com.au, enter in Skull in all caps to get 10% off at the checkout. Fucking good gear, guys and girls. It is excellent gear. I wear it, Benny wears it, Dee wears it, Simon Turtle wears it, Chromo's wearing it, fucking Michael Carroll's wearing it.
Aussie Lawn Stars, Gaza Ashton.
Yeah.
Wearing it.
Pins.
So, hey, if you get a piece of gear, don't forget to post it up on Instagram.
Or even on Skull, on LMCA.
Tag bad workwear.
Yeah, tag
LMCA. Don't tag them in there.
Tag us in it on LMCA. Tag bad workwear if you're on Instagram, and they'll reshare it.
They absolutely
good
love
peeps.
it. All right, back to the show.
Skull, all in caps.
Back to the show. Advantages of catching. So, hey man, neat and tidy.
So neat and tidy.
So, like, the only time you would fuck that up, right, if you were catching, is if you're just trying to catch too much and you're just leaving, like, dregs everywhere.
Yeah.
So, that's a real thing.
Yeah. Or if you're trying to catch grass, like, if you're going too short. And
yeah,
just
that's, catching too much. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit of a controversial point here. Now, we are going to come back to some of this stuff.
Yeah. But
it's less likely to cause thatch. Now, I'll let everyone stew on that and get real pissed off, and we'll come back. Less likely to import weeds or encourage weeds to grow. True or false, Beach? Like, what's your thought process on that? Because
I'm a mixed bag on that. Okay. So I've found when I do the...
I'm fucking coming at you.
Yeah, come at me. Come all over me. So when I do the drop and then I roll over it with the Catch Pro, then I have very good success of choking out weeds. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because some of the clippings are thrown down under the old grass and a bit more nutrients, so it's a bit thicker, or maybe I'm just lucky at those couple of sites, but...
All right, we'll put your fists up.
What's going on? Fuck, we're going to fight here.
So, look, when I say less likely to import weeds, if you've got dandelion and cobbler's pegs and all sorts of shit like that, that's seeding, you catch that and that's it. You can't regerminate. If you're mulching that shit back in, you're just planting that stuff.
That's true.
You might as well get out a fucking shovel and just get some fertilizer and shit and plant that stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Now, look, I do think when you're using mulch kits, maybe it wouldn't be as bad as getting a shovel out if you're side throwing. Yeah, man. That you're never going to eliminate.
You just get lines of weeds when you discharge land.
So, and, I want to basically, sort of cement this fact as well, that if you're catching, it doesn't mean that you're never going to transport, all right? The comment is less likely to import weeds or encourage weeds to continue to grow. Another fun fact, and I pulled this from the Lawn Guru, catching is actually better for lawns that are using fertilizers and other chemicals.
Oh, please elaborate.
Okay, so when I dug a little further, essentially going back up to our point about the annual nitrogen intake, if you're using lots and lots of chemicals and fertilizers on those lawns that are being mulched, your lawn is actually getting too much of one thing, because it is getting nutrients back from the mulch clippings. And you would think on the outside looking in that's great. Hey, more nutrients, more of this, more of that. It's actually not as good for your lawn. All of these lawns that you see on Australian Lawn Fanatics and stuff like that, let's face it, not one of those fucking lawns is mulched. But there's a heavy chemical use on there, and look, that was something new to me.
I've never heard that before, but it kind of makes sense.
So we've got the disadvantages of catching. Now, as contractors that catch, we know this shit pretty well. It's generally going to take you longer to catch a lawn, right?
Definitely. Especially when you do it like me and double cut the fucking thing.
Or even triple cut. Now, to stay on that topic, there is there is an upside to this, not downside, sorry. One of our mates, VJ, from LMCA, he actually got his first Catch Pro not long ago. And I think he just put up I don't even think he tagged me in it. He's using a Toro grandstand. And I don't think he's ever had a mulch kit.
Lucky you're my friend, DJ, or we'd be at war.
Maybe the Toro. So he put up, something, and he said, hey guys, just got my first Catch Pro. Does anyone else find it quicker? And really, it is obviously so case dependent. But I understand what he means, because you go back to this strategic mowing. Now this does apply to mulching. It's a little bit more on the side throw thing, but instead of having to worry about okay, I need to do my outer perimeters and shoot the grass in, then I need to do lines back and forth. But when I get so close to that next fence line, I got to start running my lines this way, because you're going to be throwing grass clippings. So when you do have the Catch Pro on, you actually just do 2 lines up there, 2 lines down here, and you just run there and backies. See how
there and backies? Technical?
Now,
is that on the website?
People call that a pass.
Okay.
And I was like, I call that a there and backy.
It's a there and backy.
So anyway, but to I do think generally it takes longer, because you gotta get a bag, you have to empty the catcher, then you have to haul the bag. Now we also have the removal of green waste.
That's
not good,
Not good, especially when you run out of vouchers, or as some of the crazy fucking tip fees I've seen on LMCA pop up and Aussie contractors, there's fucking mental prices. Some are saying like $60 a ton. That's gross.
Yeah, what would we be paying for a ton these days? See, it's tough.
Well, it depends. If you
see, a lot of the sites.
To be
that
honest,
we're doing,
I don't really know. Like a lot of my sites have got on-site dumping.
Yeah, so that's.
And then
I didn't want to talk over you, but I just fucking keep doing it.
Yeah, it's all right. But then we also get vouchers, which you also would have gotten vouchers. Not as much these days.
Well, because we're out of the residential game, it's like it never happens anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we got like on-site dumping. Even like I think we have a couple of businesses where we don't.
Yeah.
And we do the places so regularly that it's not much. It's
it's more hedge clippings and stuff, eh?
Yeah, I mean, there's that the gardening element is definitely a part of it, but specific to the actual grass catching, it's sure. At the end of a week, it's a fuckload.
Yeah.
Day to day, job to job, doesn't seem that bad. So we're just gonna quickly talk about more disadvantages. So if you've got long or wet grass. Seriously, like
yuckies.
Fuck your life, eh?
Yeah, yuckies. Unless you're discharging, then it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're discharging, it's like fucking Cool Hand Luke. And you just walk in, just be like,
Well, for the 40 acres, it was fucking thick. It was thick as. There was some parts that couldn't be mowed last time because of the it was underwater. And I put a new set of fucking shoes on that tiger cat and just went through, and it felt so good. Just let loose. But
where did those blades from?
Oh, from catchbird.com.au.
Beauty. What style were they?
They were my Hurricanes.
Well, my Hurricanes or yours?
Well, they're mine now. I bought the guns.
Dropping the seagull again.
Oh no!
Sorry, Michelle, if you're listening.
I'll just replace that with a fart.
Sorry, Michelle D, and maybe the one other female that listens. Okay, so the last point that I have.
What time are we up to? I'll have to edit that out.
The last point that I have here is that it's a harder task.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, it's just straight up like it takes longer, it's harder.
Yeah.
You have to lift the bag, you have to
empty the catcher. Yeah. You get bukkake sometimes when you get when you open up the flap. Bin? Yeah, when you're into a wheelie bin, or when you open up the flap and you haven't got like your blades are still going a little bit, you open it up and you're like
I've just got a little bit of a sidebar.
Okay.
So, Anthony Hahn.
Yep.
In WA, he sent us a little video gift.
Oh.
Do you not watch it?
About the I don't want to wreck the story.
We have a new name for something.
Oh, okay.
It's called a Stephen Bukkake.
A Stephen Bukkake.
And what's happened is he's rolled up to a lawn and they've got a Labrador. And its fucking name is Stephen.
Stephen Bukkake, okay.
And Stephen had just laid a huge sturge on the lawn, right? So Anthony's mowing and he's looking at this fucking dog called Stephen. And he's like, fuck you, Steve. And he's like, I'm going to remember this. So then he continues on bipper dipping. And he starts getting close. And he's had a full memory blank. And he's hit this sturge with that whipper cord.
Oh.
And he is coated in sturge.
So it's a freshie, like a full-on, still warm steamer.
Yep. So he said, I've just got a Stephen Bukkake. And, I feel like now anytime anyone hits a shit.
It's a Stephen.
It's Stephen Bukkake.
Is it a Steve Kaki?
We'll let the listeners remix that however they want. Anyway, let us know your Stephen Bukkake stories. And if you ever buy a dog and call it Stephen, punch yourself in the dick. So, that's... hey, we've unpacked a fair bit already.
Yeah, dude.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this thread and we're going to read through some comments. I'll bounce some shit off you.
Full show.
What you might need to do is take the floor for a minute.
Yep. So I definitely think that I am not going to be good at the mulching side of questions, but I will persist.
Yeah, I mean, look.
I don't know the Pacifics.
Oh, I don't usually know this. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. So Stagger Lee from LMCA says...
Stags?
G'day, Stags, by the way. He says, I reckon all three have their value and offering. It gives you the option to upsell. Love that, upselling. I'm always looking for an excuse to upsell. And he talks about his mulching is your base price. Catching becomes an excuse for him to charge more.
Yeah.
Now, I love the start of it, of his comment saying that all three have their value.
Beautiful.
That's a good neutral way to look at things.
It is, and that was one thing that you put in the actual post. No bullshit.
So about the bullshit, I don't care if someone wants to bullshit a concept. I was only talking about personally.
Yeah.
So Stagger, comes and says, look, I only catch and you're an absolute fuckhead if you mulch. That's the bullshit that I'm talking about. So Joe goes on to say, horses for courses, an experienced contractor, there's a time and a place for each of them.
Yay, very nice.
Scott Jones says, I'm all for catching jobs. It looks cleaner. The only jobs that I don't catch would be acreages. And look, I think Scott nails it there too. Like I said before, if we roll up to 2 acres, now I am Mr. Catch Bro.
Yeah.
Right? If I roll up to 2 acres and someone's like, hey, I want Greenscape Solutions to cut this, catch the whole thing, I'm probably doing everything in my power to be like, look, I don't know that's what you really want.
Would you ditch it? Would you think about ditching it?
No, I'd fucking do it.
About catching it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be catching it for the same price.
Yeah.
Side
Oh, no, of course not.
Now, we are going to get to the pricing.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for the comments to pop up. So, young Nanky Panky, this is James Nankavernus. Different jobs call for different services. I'm not doing more than what I'm paid for. Ooh, we're getting there. So, I think I made a comment and say, would you say catching is an additional service?
Yeah.
Now, in your business, is catching an additional service?
No.
Let's say, so on that 2 acre property that I...
This hypothetical property.
Yeah, that's the word. I was going to say metaphorically. Anyway,
Metamorphosis.
Lucky you got my back, right?
Gotcha.
So, on that 2 acre property, that's going to be extra.
Yeah.
You have to charge more, right?
Yeah.
On a $70 residential 500 square meter block, when you roll up to quote, you were just thinking in your head, like, I'm going to get the bushy out or the skag out and I'm just going to catch this, right?
Yeah. Or the 32.
Yeah, sure, whatever. But I'm just, not everyone has...
No, I know, but that's how I would work. Because I can see things differently because there's less effort for me to...
But would you really... I know that, you doing it on the 32 is going to be a quicker job and thus you could provide that service maybe more efficiently than what someone else can. But... like, even if you just didn't have it right, like, let's say
I'd catch anyway.
Was 28 inches.
I've never not caught, to be honest.
Okay, cool. So he goes on to say, absolutely, again, sort of depends on the job.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Steve Tyrrell says he catches 98% of his jobs. He reckons it gives a more professional look. Mm-hmm. And he goes on to say that it's all push mower work, no ride-on work.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think that goes back a little bit to that residential market that is push mowing only.
Yeah.
There's still businesses that do that, right? Look, I think it's great for those who have been able to have a mulching business.
I wouldn't even have considered it when I first started. But
if someone came to quote your place right now for some reason.
Yeah.
For some reason.
My dick fell off.
Yeah.
I need someone to cut my lawn. My dick fell off.
Just have a listen at you.
Yeah.
All right, and you get 2 quotes.
Yep.
One guy says, so all push mowing.
Yeah.
You get 2 quotes. One dude's like, hell no, I'm not fucking catching nothing for you. I'm on a mulching service and it's going to cost you $69.
Okay, it's a good number.
And the catching guy comes up and he said, oh, this looks good. Yeah, no worries. $69. Hey, you going to mulch this or are you going to catch it? Oh, I'm going to catch it, of course. That's the standard service.
Yeah.
Which one are you going with?
I'm going to get that fucking shit caught.
Okay, cool.
100%. All day.
So this is from a contractor's point of view and a paying customer's point of view, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you guys used to do my lawn back before I was in the industry, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's fucking gone back a while.
Yeah.
So we have Joseph Rigby. He says, I catch every job except ride-on work. Never even thought about mulching on a push mower.
Yeah.
So
Joe's
don't need to go into
Joe's
that.
up. No, that's pretty much...
Russell Fender says, going in depth about the differences between the Catch Pro and blower-assisted, non-blower-assisted baggers. Look, that's probably not really something that I should have read. But for Russell, look, essentially, I think the Catch Pro and blower-assisted units is a little bit of your oranges and apples.
Yeah. So the Catch Pro, you can take on and off like that.
Like your dick, right?
Yeah, it just falls off. So you can't do that with a blower-assisted vac. It's a bolt-on unit that, doesn't just slip on and off. It also takes up a fuckload more room.
Now, it will perform better.
You've got bigger capacity, but it's just another fucking thing you have to add onto the rig. You'd have to, could you imagine putting a 61 on with
Smithy.
Yeah, Smith, fucking Daniel Smith from up in Harvey Bay. He had the Bobcat.
What's he called? Never Mow Again?
Never Mow Again. So I'm only guessing, you got a 61 and then you've got another, how many inches you reckon a blower's got on it?
Oh, like a BBC was worth at least.
Yeah. So what's that, 12 inches? 10 to 12?
I was going to say 20.
That's a BBBC.
Look, we might talk about that again in future episodes.
No, that's a good one.
I know we're running real long here, but we just got to fucking do what we got to do.
I'm not used to running anywhere, so...
that
was a dad joke.
We have another comment here for... Can you please say that?
Warnmud Gerard.
Warnmud Gerard.
Yeah, I hope so.
I know I fucked that up. Anyway, mulch or discharge where possible. Catching is extra. A couple of regulars request mulched. That's really cool. So catching is an extra service for Warnmud Dread.
Yep. And that's cool. If that's the way, that's another thing too with this whole situation. This whole it shouldn't be a controversial subject. The only reason it would be controversial if people are how do you fucking charging more for catching, or why aren't you charging less for mulching? Because fuck what you're charging. So
I think we're in, as a community, like the Australian lawn mowing contractor community, I think we're in a stage of innovation.
Yeah. And I guess that's why everyone's trying new things.
Now, whether it be products and accessories, or whether it be new innovative ways to provide that service. Yeah. Now, not only are the lawn mowing contractors going through an innovative stage, but the manufacturers, and I absolutely fucking hate to say this, but they're going through some innovation as well.
Yeah.
The Victor Mulchmaster and, other machines that provide those services.
Yeah.
So I think it's all relevant. But I just don't know that if you'll see some people in this thread, they're brand new to the industry. They're like, what? Mulching? Is this real? Is this possible?
Yeah, dude, when I first started my business, mulching was never on the cards. I did a fucking 3/4 acre property. I slashed it and then I push mowed and caught fucking 2 6x5 trailer loads. No, 7x5 trailer loads stacked of grass.
Yeah. Now, I would never have in my residential mowing career, which I did for well over 10 years.
Yeah.
I can't think of a time where I ever thought of mulching.
No, it hasn't really crossed my mind.
Now, before I came out with the Catch Pro, we messed around with mulch kits on our zero turns.
Yeah.
And look, I think they work. I just don't think that the concept is diverse enough for my business.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that most of our business has been targeted towards larger villages that you are doing hedging. you've got fucking leaves galore. So you are trying to pick up that shit without having to get a rake out.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been through seasons in Brisbane, you know, horrible seasons, drought seasons, you know, all of this stuff, right? Where the only reason why we're mowing is to vacuum up fucking waste on the lawn.
Yeah.
So Benny Brown goes on. Now, Benny Brown's a local.
Yeah.
I actually was kind of like threw out a comment like, hey man, you should come and sit in. And he didn't write back to me.
Oh.
So
come on in, Benny.
Give yourself an uppercut.
Double Bennies.
I think there's a use for all options. I believe it's our job as professionals to correctly decide which to do and when, depending on the quality and the experience, appearance expected by the customer, as long as the price point required. He says he does all three. Some jobs that he does, mulch look great. Other jobs would look like rubbish. Some customers don't want to pay the extra to have it caught. Clearly communicate with the customers and come up with the best solution.
That's a very good comment. I enjoy that.
I know I cooped it a little bit when reading it, but pretty much Benny Brown, mate, from where's he from again?
James Home Services.
James Home Services. Yeah, I had a mental blank on that there. So, you know, he's a franchisee for James. And, you know, I'm assuming maybe he got that training from them.
Yeah.
But I think it's really good advice.
Me too.
Like, if there was one single paragraph or advice that I'd be giving if someone asked me, that's a really good point.
Screenshot it, I'll put it in my fucking staff manual.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as a boss, you know. Now, we're probably going to get to it soon, but let's just get the ball rolling with it now. There's a lot of talk about educating your clients, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be a salesman.
Yeah,
you know, you have to sell your service and you have to sell yourself as a person.
Plus, if you're a mulching business, you have to sell what you're selling. Like, there's no point in fucking coming up with something new on the spot.
Now, I think that there's a little bit, and look, this might be controversial as well, but I think there's just a lot of chitter chatter about, hey, you know, I want to mulch. I have to educate my new customers to agree to mulch. Now, I really think that educate word is a massive cop-out.
Yeah.
I don't think you're educating that client. I think you're conning them into a lesser service.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because, number one, they've already stated that catching is going to be extra.
Yep.
And we've already established that you can do things way quicker and easier.
Yep.
Without catching. And so you're not educating shit to anyone. You're fucking basically getting them to agree that this is going to be an easier job.
So you can bang in, bang out.
Now, at the same time, we will go on and talk a little bit further about the benefits of mulching. If this episode ever ends.
Yeah.
Because it is true. There are
huge benefits.
There are benefits.
And it's not just the speed. And it's not just the, the fact that you're not taking green waste. There's heaps of other things.
I think no matter what, when we talk about these benefits, no one is benefiting more than the operator.
100%. Yeah.
And I think realistically, they don't give a fuck about that person's lawn.
No.
They're only caring about being able to say, no, this is the way it's going to happen.
Yeah. Now, in some ways, you could bring it back to quantity over quality. I know that there are some guys out there that mulch lawns and they take great pride in the way they look, and that's cool, but there are definitely some that are out there that probably don't. Like, you fucking go past the guys that do the mulching and don't give a fuck. They don't even have a mulch kit. They just roll over it and leave it fucking behind them on a pushy. Just comes straight out the guts. But, yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, look.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know, and like I said, I'm not, I'm not trying to attack anyone's business or anything like that, but when it's already been stated that catching is a premium service, I don't understand why people are trying to say, look, we're educating our clients to have a better service when they've already clearly understood catching is a premium service.
Yeah.
Hey, we have to charge you more. So that really, when you weigh things up, someone who has a dedicated mulch business is not charging the same amount of money as someone that has a dedicated catching business.
Yeah.
Based on their theory.
Yeah.
So look, there's tons of comments based on that, so we'll get to that, but Ben Brown loved to comment. Michael Bailey, he says, whatever the client wants, catch, mulch or side throw. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Anthony Moore, Mr. Admin.
Hey.
What did we used to call him? I know he's called Jaraday. Does he have a female name? Antoinette Moray. I don't know why I put that up.
I don't know.
Love you, Anthony. He said for him it all comes down to the client and what level of service they want. If it's a better quality lawn or the client wants a really neat finish, then he's going to catch that for sure. If not, then I'm mulching it. He also goes on to say that he doesn't take away clippings, so if there's no green waste bin, then he ain't catching it. He's mulching it no matter what.
Okay.
Now, I've seen Anthony's work. His Instagram's blowing up.
Yep.
And he does some sexy jobs. So it's obviously working for him.
Yep.
So no hate there. Now, just quickly, I was going to move on. But,
Talk to me.
So, for him, let's say... Now, no one's really going to understand this, but let's say the mansion, right?
Yeah.
The mansion. One of my jobs. That is a lawn where if you try to do something there without a catcher, right?
Yeah.
It's, hey, fuck off.
Yeah, straight away.
Now, Anthony's saying for him, he's not set up to catch. Now, at this particular mansion, they ain't taking your shit.
No, they'll just kick you.
No, I mean, they're not, if you cut some grass clippings,
yeah,
it's not saying that you to take that shit away.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a downside to someone's...
It'd limit your fucking customers, wouldn't it?
To someone's portfolio?
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
What I mean? Like, that was one of those lawns where, let's just set the context, you're in an estate, and I guess it's like, say, the original house.
It's a fucking standout house. There's all these, almost identical houses all the way around it. Then it's just one fucking gigantic
like a triple
house.
block. It's like...
Huge. Massive house.
And it's one of those ones... where you do it and people going on their morning walks, they stop to watch you.
It was immaculate.
So
it was immaculate.
You know what I mean by that is if you got a client that's demanding this sort of service, and you're like, well, look, man, I'm not set up for this, or I'm not even going to try and set myself up for that. You're kind of limiting yourself in that portfolio, right?
100%.
Okay, so
well, how many customers do you know that let you dump their grass on site? Like residentially, I didn't have many at all.
I mean, look, we're not doing a ton of residentials, but
you have done in the past, though.
Yeah, and green bins just weren't really around.
Nah, I had, our buddy Hugh. He offers a green bag
that's
service.
Like a dead service. Yeah, a green bag service.
So
fucking humongous.
Yeah.
GIMO, by the way, everyone on Instagram.
Yeah, get on them. Cutie.
Dale Lang goes on to say it comes down to where you live and the weather, season conditions. He said Victorian winters are bitches to catch the grass. Heavy mowers with the weight of the grass in the bags can leave wheel marks. Then depends on how often you service the property, weekly, fortnightly, 3 weekly. All total valid points, which I 100% agree with.
Yeah.
Now, Kyle Kilgallen.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that good?
Yeah, you did a good job.
He goes on to say that he mulches or side discharges everything. Now, I just want to say specifically to Kyle, this episode and all of these points, man, none of it is relative to your business. I've seen the type of shit that you do.
No one's expecting you to catch with a fucking 72-inch fucking rod.
Yeah, dude. And all of this hilly, acres upon acres. Man, so Kyle has a lot of points in here where he's brought up. But I just don't think I think with his business model, he is 100% correct.
Built for the bukkake for sure.
He's at those jobs where he's probably singing "Give Me That."
Yeah, he sent me a few photos this morning. He's fucking chewing through some fucking filthy big properties. So like BJ said,
I don't think anyone's tripping if you have never thought about catchable in that type of environment. Adrian Wheeler goes on to say that he mulches at certain times of the year with different lawns for health of the turf.
Yep.
So that's a great point. We try to catch most of the year, but it is healthy for the lawn to leave the nutrients of the leaf in the soil. Time for a place with both methods if done right and leaving a great finish. So I think that's another great breakdown. Leaving the nutrients in the soil. I believe he's a WA guy.
Okay.
So they know about that shit.
Yeah, that's their thing. Another one.
What do you mean?
Hugh, another WA boy.
Yeah, another WA guy. Hugh Mungus. He says he always either side discharges or catches it himself. He never mulches. Man, I'd love to hear from everyone in WA and just see is because we know about the WA guys, right? And we're gonna get some of them on here, but all about the cylinders, all about we've had Luke Smith on talking a little bit about it, but man, those dudes they don't mulch.
No, they catch.
Luke's
got the Super S.
He's got the Super S.
Yeah,
he has Catch Pro. He's got a prototype Pro Shield.
Oh, okay, one of the OG ones.
Yeah, one of our homemade built units.
That's what I got, isn't it?
That's what you got, yeah. So his might have even been before yours.
Oh, damn.
So it'd be interesting to see how that's holding up. Joshua Scott says he'd be keen to hear about setups for blades. So look, he does mention push mowers. Look, I'm probably not the best person to talk about the push mower thing.
We only catch with our push mowers. I've side discharged with the SFC 30, and I've thrown the mulch plug in, and that's pretty much my experience with mulching. I think it does a good job, but still, it's a finishing mower, so it loves to vacuum. So I don't know, man.
So Josh, look, we'll keep this in the archive, and we might try and get a guest on.
Yeah,
someone who does a ton of push mowing and messes around with different blade concepts. Yeah. But thank you very much for your comment nonetheless. Martin Briscoe says he only catches when he can use their on-site bin.
Okay.
It actually says I only catch where there is a big otherwise mulch.
Okay.
But I'm assuming that's a typo.
Yeah.
See, I'm fucking smart like that.
Yeah. You put it together. You're like a fucking Sherlock Holmes.
Ash Smithers. He could be another WA guy. Mr. Smithers.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
He also wears bad workwear, bad safety pants.
Handsome.
My opinion is if you're doing well-maintained residential fortnightly or weekly mowing with a rotary or cylinder, catching is the only option to finish a job. Mulching, no matter how good you reckon it looks, never looks as good as catching unless you're cylinder mowing every 2 to 3 days. As a WA guy, I think that's a fairly typical.
Yeah.
That's kind of like their mindset.
Yeah.
And that is the level.
They have high standards.
But I do agree as well.
I kind of do.
I think at the end of the day, if you put a lawn somewhere and you mulch half of it and you catch half of it, I don't see a scenario where that mulched finish looks as good.
Yeah.
Directly compared.
Yeah.
I just
What about the health of the turf? Do you think the mulched will be healthier than the caught, or vice versa? Or you think they'll be the same? They'll get the same nutrients. They'll get the same sunlight.
So look, I just think realistically, people go on and emphasize how great for a lawn mulching is. They almost never say catching is bad for your lawn.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, who the fuck says that? The only time it's bad is if you fertilize 20 minutes before.
Yeah, and then you suck up all your fertilizer.
Yeah, so I think, and I don't want people to think I'm going on a tangent attacking people that mulch, because it really isn't how I feel.
No.
But really, you got to lay out.
Yeah.
You got to lay out all the points.
Be fair.
Tristram, another WA guy. I wish I didn't commit to this. He said sidebars about meth head old ladies, and I can only assume he's talking about Nola. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If I was to ask Nola about catching or mulching, what would that sound like?
Hey, Nola.
No, you are Nola.
Oh, I'm Nola.
If I was to ask Nola...
Oh, yeah, Ben. Oh, I don't care. Just give us a ciggy and mow me fucking lawn, eh?
Just bang one up for the boys, huh?
Yeah. Watch out for the critters.
Okay, so we've got Corey Rogers, and he says, our Resi run catches... our Resi run catches. We mow a lot of picky old clients. The grass grows mad here, so you can't hide the fact that it's mulched.
Yeah.
Winter would be a different story. Acreage is always mulched unless he's using the 104. I spend a bit of extra time in autumn when the leaves are bad to chew them up. Rada. Now, it's a funny comment here. Acreage is mulched. So that's a little bit surprising to me, because I would never ever consider mulching virtually any of my acreages.
Nah, me neither.
I really also don't think that a lot of certainly not this summer, I just don't think that any mulch kit or any mower really would have
handled it. Nah.
Yeah.
No, the growth is crazy. And I'm only guessing that because the kick down south grows fucking crazier than anything we've got here. So I'm guessing it's probably the same situation down south. They would have had a bit of trouble if they're full dedicated mulching crews.
Look, I think if I was mowing weekly like I do here in that paddock, look, I think I'd probably be fine with a dedicated mulch kit.
Yeah.
So from a homeowner's perspective, it just means that, like from a contractor's perspective, I'd have to unbolt that thing to do these other jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally we got Tristram back on a serious note. He prefers to catch. He believes that it provides a more satisfying result. He charges for clippings and time. No idea how it rolls in the residential market, but he loves catching mowing over mulch mowing.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of comes down to your own level of say standards.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, with mulching or catching, as long as you're getting paid appropriately, and you don't mind taking the clippings away with catching, and you don't mind leaving them behind with mulching, and you're satisfied with what you've done, I guess it really gives a fuck. But I personally, I just couldn't leave a bummy lawn behind.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, if you're running a successful business, where you're making more money than what you're spending, or whatever the case is. Look, I think probably half of this shit doesn't matter.
No.
If you are out there and you're like, geez, can I do better, or can I make more money, or how can I be more successful? Then I think that this is a topic that has some credibility.
Yeah.
Adam will go on to say that in the growing season, I'm mulching my weekly lawns, but the majority, which are fortnightly, need to be caught. Wintertime mulching wins. So that's probably a direct result of mulching in demanding conditions. Is probably not.
It's all about the growth, isn't it?
And hey, on the flip side to that, catching would be a bastard in those conditions too. So Craig Burrows says, Benny, one thing I think makes a difference with ride-on standards and tractors is the difference in visibility of the cuttings left behind. A single cutting deck on, say, a tractor, the cuttings are more visible than a ZTR stand-on leaves behind because of the extra cutting decks. I also find 3 cutting deck spindles as opposed to only 2 leaves a better finish. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think if you're, when you're using a bigger mower, you got more spindles on there, more blades. I probably will say about the tractors, like a lot of tractors have swing back setups.
Yeah.
And those swing back setups, man, they're a bit of a sleeper.
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised at how well they disperse. I'm not a tractor dude, but we demoed the Cox.
Yeah. I remember that.
The Cox Lawn Boss.
Yeah.
And super, super impressed with the discharge capabilities. Now, more to Craig's point, that's not really a mulching.
No.
But it was dispersing very finely and very nicely.
I haven't had much experience with tractors, but not really at all. I shot a gun off one a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like a hillbilly.
I got one out the back. I just don't give a fuck about it.
Let's burn it one day.
But they have their place in the market.
Yeah.
Hilly stuff.
It's a residential king, isn't it?
Hilly stuff.
The residential mower.
So, no, lots of people are using like a 30-inch Cox or Greenfield because you could pick them up for, say, a couple grand instead of spending, the 10 to 14 Gs on the 32 standards. But absolutely, Craig, more blades, more spindles, that's going to help out, definitely, as opposed to, your 36 or 42s or even 32s that only have 2 blades on. I can see 3 being a
advantage.
Yeah. Nick Lang. That's not right. Hey, Nick Lang. Nick?
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's close enough.
He said that he was a massive fan of catching and couldn't understand the idea of mulching, but since he's got the 32 Skag, he thought he'd give mulching a go. What a difference! He went from going to the tip all the time to barely going at all. Now, I'm going to stop this comment here and say that, that pretty much cements everything that we've said in the episode.
Yeah.
And he's found a way to make that work in his business. He said most of his customers don't have green bins and I don't want them to have to rely on them. For the most part, if it's a regular and there's not a substantial amount to come off, he'll mulch or side throw initially. Then a couple of clicks up on the deck height for another pass. If it still looks average, then he'll chuck the Catch Pro on and get what's left. Now, that goes back to your theory and your strategy that, hey, if you think you can get away with it, leave the Catch Pro off or leave a catcher off, whatever the case.
Yeah.
And look, if you're not happy with it, bung the catcher on, vacuum it up, cop it sweet, right? So in an environment where, like, say if that's a regular job, you probably have to wear that cost.
Yeah.
But if it's like a brand new client, you probably quote that little bit of extra for the possibility, right?
Yeah, I would now. Yeah.
Okay, now Daniel Smith, we're finally here.
Yeah.
He says this is his favourite topic, and he spent many years mulching. He refused to catch due to the Queensland lawns. He's got cooch here in commas. And buying a Catch Pro, it converted me, and now I'm a die-hard catching guy only. I'll stop that comment there and say that obviously he's moved on from the Catch Pro.
So what did he have? So he had a 61-inch Bobcat with the blower vac system or whatever it is. And then now he's fucking swimming in Gianni's. Yeah,
so he goes on to say that yes, you can get good, great job mulching, but generally takes more effort for the same finish. 2 passes and time blowing down the clumps of grass. Different grass mulch is better. Since transitioning to catching, I find I've been saving time and fuel. 1 pass, cut, collect. Now, I am just going to stop this here and say that this dude has a superior grass catching machine. When he says, like, I've seen the shit that he does.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, have a look at Never Mow Again.
Yeah, on YouTube.
He's got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's got heaps of videos up.
I mean, he can roll over like a fucking foot of grass.
Yeah, and it just
vacuums it sweet.
Not fast, but fast enough to still be
yeah, like if you were going to even try and mulch, you'd probably break something.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're going back to horses for courses.
Yeah.
Like, he's invested his whole setup and his equipment that he runs. Yeah. Everything that he does, he's revolved that around catching.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, let's say Anthony Moore, they're running out of a van.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that, I'm not taking green.
Yeah.
So 2 sides of the spectrum and 2 sides that clearly work.
Yeah.
So let's go on. We have Anthony Hahn here, who we mentioned before.
Oh, Steve Kaki.
Stephen Bakaki. He said most of his jobs are, say, small to size, medium residentials. All of them get caught. All the waste goes into their green bins. Goes on to say if there's not enough room in the bins, he has a little trick. So he'll give it the lawn of mulch first, then go over it again with the catcher. It leaves it looking great and nice. And you only have to take away about half the clippings. So that goes back to your theory where you take the bulkiness out.
That's it.
clean up the rest. Gary Ashton from Aussie Lawn Stars. Our industry is built out of necessity, and the people who invest it in doing what works well for them will likely have a strong position, whichever option that is. So good neutral.
Yep.
Good neutral sort of theory here. He goes on to say that he found mulching as near 100% of his jobs as possible, made his run more efficient, and efficiency makes a tight profit margin a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to look around the issue to realise the reasons we can be flexible instead of convincing ourselves and others that there is only one way to do it.
Yeah.
So, really good comment here. Now, Gary Ashton has actually, he just picked up his first catch pro.
Oh, nice.
He like you said, has 100% mulching business. He's got a Walker, forget which model, but it's the...
is it the diesel one or is it a petrol?
I don't think it's the diesel one, but it's not like the direct collect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a side throw mulching, and he's got it set up for mulching.
Yep.
And look, he is in a market where he can do that.
Yep.
He does have a few periods where, you know, they're from a distance, you stand back, everything looks fine.
Yeah.
But if you got right up close, you would see, you know, a little bit of
muck.
stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got the Catch Pro there to just vacuum up those little bits. Joseph says he catches 100%, push mowing and resis.
Yeah, he's a local dude too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Adam would say he's 50-50 with catch and mulch discharge.
Nice.
Grant Osborne says, more to the point, this is probably a piggyback off a different comment, it's not just a matter of equipment to catch, leave on the ground, a drive around on any given day, or look at the rigs on the pages. This is 90% of contractors' rigs aren't set up to take grass away. Now, that's an interesting comment. I'm not sure what market you're in, but I would have thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, me too.
I would have, like, in Brizzy.
Yeah, 100%. You barely...
I think every rig is set up to take away. Like, we do that much gardening, man. Like, you got to be set up for it. Or I just think, you know, I don't really know what you'd be doing.
Yeah. Well, that's
an interesting comment.
That's a weird one. I would definitely think it's the opposite way.
Look,
in Brisbane anyway, like
I think if you're, you know, let's say a Sydney or a Melbourne guy,
or in a city maybe, really in a city.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen in Brisbane too.
Yeah, it's a big city.
So Luke Smith from WA says, it seems to me that the motivation to mulch is mostly because it is better or easier for the operator, not because it is better for the client.
Yeah, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have that same theory. Catching is more difficult for the operator and is most often better for the client, which I also do agree with.
Yeah.
Luke is like my fucking kindred spirit right now. There are a few times where mulching is better for the client, but majority of jobs look better caught.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just really think that that's great. We're probably running really long here.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll keep going. Fucking why not?
Paul Luck has a comment for Luke Smith. He says 100% it's better for the operator. You don't make money in business by aiming for perfection unless you are willing to charge a huge premium for that very few customers who are willing to pay. Probably going to stop that there and say that, like, I don't think in my 20 years I've ever really experienced a situation where clients are just not willing to pay for the full service.
No, never.
Now I will go back and say that yes, I think if someone has a mulching style business and they are going to be quick, they are going to be efficient if you're charging that same price.
Yeah.
But I just can't see how. I can't see how the business models and the pricing structures would ever be the same.
No.
When you're really not comparing apples to oranges, apples to apples.
And that comment kind of makes me think like it is a quantity over quality thing. It's trying to get as many done as you can, charge your money, get in, get out.
Yep. Now, if Paul, I think, you know, was kind of saying like, if you're doing the same jobs and you're paying the same price, then you're probably not going to be as successful.
No, I know Paul is very regimented in his systems, So maybe that's why he has more success with the mulching. Like I think he's got a few weekly customers there, which would make a huge difference to mulching.
Oh, man, that would make a huge difference. Now, he goes on to say, if you can achieve a mulch job that is 95% as good as a quart, that few, if any, customers will even notice the difference, yet save 30% of your time. Productivity goes through the roof. Now, I can agree with that.
Yep.
But the issue that I have with it is if you can achieve 95% as good of a result, it just sort of goes to show that it's really not the same level of service.
Yeah.
And it's if you can achieve 95%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only hitting 80%, or you know what, in some cases a lot worse.
Yeah.
I would probably think that you could probably save better than 30% of your time. Like I know, I think if you were running a dedicated mulching business, I'd probably expect to save more than 30%.
Yeah.
But
never getting off your machine.
Yeah, look, I do think horses for courses as well. But in a way, I think comments like that really cement the fact that catching clearly looks better.
Yeah.
And if we've already established that whilst it has benefits to the lawn, but not necessarily, then we really got to try and find out what is the benefit for the client.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see his side of the fence. It's, he's not going for that Instagram look. He's going for, the quantity. He's getting in, getting out. And for me, my business isn't about that. I'm still making good dollars and I'm catching everything basically. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, if I don't know about 30% more though. I don't think how much did he say, how much more money you could add?
He's saying you could be 30% more productive. Which is, I think it's about right. I think maybe you could be a little bit more productive.
Yeah.
You're talking about going to the tip at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Lifting grass bags and stuff.
See, I'm set up so I only have to go maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I was set up, I only had to go once a week.
Yeah.
And really not that much of it was grass.
No.
When you look at the amount of what we're actually catching and what we could leave on site.
Yeah.
James Centorino, in my local council, we don't have green bins for the clippings, so a lot of contractors are mulching. When giving the customer the two price options, the majority go for mulching. So I think that probably goes to show that, different markets will have different demands.
Yep.
Kyle goes on to say catching is a scam. Yeah. I will say that, like we said earlier, I kind of believe that's true in his market as well.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be catching a fucking thing in his market.
No way.
Mulching or catching, this is from Paul Ellis. Mulching or catching depends generally on a number of things. Number one, client expectations. So, if you've got real fussy clients,
100%.
Be clear what method you're going to use. Another excellent point. I think you do need to be upfront. Be clear what method you're going to use and why. So I've just fucking repeated that. The lawn condition. If it's just a sporadic and only watered by rainfall, like in Adelaide at the moment, or well watered all year round, the lawn species are more suited to other types. It just goes on to give you all the variables, which I think is another great explanation that you have to look at a lawn sometimes. And look at the expectation as well. Yeah. And sort of be like, well, if you've had this lawn caught for 20 years and you were paying $60, it's probably going to be a little bit difficult for me to sell you on mulching and charge you $80.
Yeah, that's it. Dale's on here. I got the pleasure to hang out with Dale for a bit and go over his business. And we've fucking definitely got some different business methods, but he's very successful dude.
Has a great business.
Mad things.
So
it's Dale from Urban Turf.
Yep. Are you trying to trick me into something? So Dale says he's had them all from rear discharge John Deere machines to Gianni's with the high lift collection. Now he's got V-rides. He said every machine had its purpose. The Gianni had the best finish, but our clients couldn't have cared about catching, and I struggled to get them to even pay a few more bucks per hour. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Our current V-rides leave a great finish besides very long grass clippings, and goes on to say they're dispersed beautifully where we want them. So, he's obviously got a business model and a method that works well for him.
So he does a lot of commercial stuff. So he does a lot of the frontages of residential villages. He does lots of roadways and footpaths and parks and shit like that. So,
yeah, so why the fuck would you catch?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that makes any sense to catch. And I think if you're doing roadways and you're not catching, I think legally you have to be mulching.
Oh, really?
But you can't be side throwing
Fuck,
that
man.
shit.
I've seen them some dudes fucking side throwing around in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at your own risk, but
scary shit.
When we were going to take on a council contract, maybe 2 years ago, so we were going to be subcontracting to someone. They all had rear discharge machines.
Yeah.
They were going to inspect our mowers, and because we had the advanced chute systems, we passed.
Oh, okay. Nice.
If you didn't have a chute blocker or a rear discharge machine or a dedicated mulch kit, you had no chance of even being considered for that site. It's just too much of a risk to side throw in those situations. Turtle goes on to say that first of all, he believes everyone's entitled to their own opinion and everyone should respect the path of each contractor. I think that's a great comment. He said he does a combination of commercial and residential properties. About 3 or 4 of his residential backyards are caught and the clippings placed in their green bins. The rest of my clients are mulched and all of their lawns are happy. And they're all happy with their lawns.
Well, his lawns might be happy too.
Yeah, hey man, happy client, happy lawn,
That's
happy
it.
Turtle. Thank you, Turtle, for your comment there. And I think it's a pretty good generalisation.
Yeah.
Seems that most people are...
This is a good one, man. You've fucking got a very respectful bunch of people in here.
Hey, it's that community, it's that network.
Yeah.
And...
Or are you just waiting for all the fucking juicy ones at the end?
I mean, no one wants to hear the animal voice. When DJ fucking edits me for defamation.
I'm going to have to fucking edit myself.
That fucking James. Okay, Brandon Clark. I think it depends on the grass type. Whether it's wet, frequency, how long it is, length of cut. Too many variables for it to be a one-stop shop. If catching, I stockpile my clippings at home and do less tip runs. He said the downside in Queensland is the stinko grass in summer.
Ooh, yeah.
Mate, some of us fucking love that
Oh,
smell.
it smells like horse shit.
Yeah, no, when it's freshly cut, it's good.
Yeah, it's delicious when it's freshly cut. But if
like after it's raining and and you go for a drive to the shop and you're like,
or you fucking. What about when you've had a bag in?
I just dropped the seed.
Did ya? Yeah. Give me a time. I've got to knock all these C's out.
Leave that one in. It's my first one.
Oh, fair enough. We get one.
Rob Meller, who I believe is a rep for Briggs and Stratton.
Oh, okay,
could
sweet.
be a Ferris rep or maybe just a Briggs rep.
Yeah.
He said another factor is some of their Ferris decks, which are a combination deck design of rear discharge and has the half baffle. Now, what he's talking about is the
36.
Yeah, Z1.
Yeah.
Z1, which does have it's like a kind of like a dedicated machine.
Multi-deck.
And yeah, look, I can see that being great. I've used it. It works good. I do think that there are going to be some issues there when you start getting into some longer, thicker stuff.
Yeah.
But I've talked to people that have bought those machines and I haven't heard a lot of bad stuff. So
How do you stick a catch pro on that? You got to fucking glue it to the back end?
You don't put a catch pro on that.
Why are you talking to him then?
Hey, it was for the stand-on army.
Oh, fair enough.
So, Conrad Brookman, on the subject of mulch mowing leading to thatch buildup, I think this is a fallacy that needs to be addressed. Science says no. it doesn't. This has actually been researched and proven by turf scientists, but this also applies to lawn mowing according to the 1/3 rule, not necessarily grass cutting, which is a different concept entirely. Now, hey, look, I think this is a really interesting topic, and this goes back to educating your clients. Whilst I agree with what Conrad is saying, I just think that there is too many variables to be using that educating. Let's face it, I mean, he's a Brisbane guy too. It's pretty rare that on a fortnightly mowing cycle you're taking off 1/3.
Fuck, man, it grows like 7 times.
Yeah.
Like today, we're doing a fortnight's growth, and some of the shit's like,
worse than what it was when you cut it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's fucking good. Some of the seed heads on the couch, they're just reaching. It's you was getting around a foot. But obviously not the actual leaf, but yeah, there's a lot of variables.
And like I said before, it doesn't necessarily cause thatch, but if you have a very thatchy lawn already, or like a very thatchy client, and you just continue to do it, it adds to it. It does. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
Now that is different to if you got a normal, like good condition lawn that doesn't have thatch. Mulching that lawn is not going to create thatch.
No.
That has been proven according to that 1/3 rule. Paul Luck goes on to say that he's built his business around 100% mulching. He said he learned in his first week of business that catching is a massive productivity killer. With the right mower, the right grass, and the right frequency, I believe it can be mulched and look 95% to 100% as good caught. Now, I am going to stop this comment here and emphasize there's a lot of variables there.
Yeah.
You can't the
really...
right mower, the right grass, and the right frequency. I believe it can be 95% to 100% as good. Now, look, I think if you have a business model where you've been able to pick up all the clients that fit all that criteria.
How long would it take?
I'm not sure, and Paul would be great to elaborate on that.
How long did it take to build up that clientele? It would take a while, because...
it just... look, man, I just think it depends. I just think that when you're trying to build a business, I do think you need to diversify. Yeah. I think it helps when times get hard.
Definitely.
I think you have to be able to provide different services to different people where it's needed in order to have that longevity.
Yeah.
So he does go on to say, I'd say 80% of my clients don't even realise I mulch. So I don't know, does that mean like the other 20% they realise and they're still happy, or they realise and they're not happy? I'm just not sure how comfortable I would feel knowing that 20% of my clientele base is not happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I mean, they could just be aware of what he's doing.
They could be aware of it, yeah. Some people might not like it just on the basis of it's easier for you, and they just don't fucking like that. Yeah. People who are paying for a service like to see shit.
That's fucking... When you get into villages and shit, if people see you smiling, then... Well, not all people, but some people, if they see you smiling, they don't think you're working hard enough.
And it also goes on a little bit, like with growth regulators and stuff, like people are picking up contracts and they're like, yeah, we're going to charge you $100 a fortnight to maintain these hedges, and then we're going to use a growth regulator afterwards, and we're not going to fucking touch these for 3 months.
We'll come, have a look, maybe tip something, and then bail.
And look, no matter how you break that down, some people are going to have an issue with it. Yeah. So maybe it's the same thing. Sean says catch where possible, mulch, discharge where necessary. Shannon says all of his ZTR work is mulch. 90% of his lawns are Kikuyu. All about training customers, I believe. Quoted a new customer last month, decent size area, told them I only mulch, mow, ride-on work. Now, I can probably say that with the ride-on stuff, I'd say it's pretty common for guys to not catch with ride-ons.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people that are catching with ride-ons are substituting that push mower for a ride on to make their life easier.
Yep. That's me.
Yeah, so, hey, it's me, even 48. So, horses for courses there. When we're talking about training your customer, that's that cop-out line for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's not training them. He's just informing them of the services he provides.
No, he's training them. It's all about training the customers, I believe. So,
but I mean,
training the customer. So the customer has the expectation that he's going to get a lawnmower man out to cut the lawn, and it's going to be fucking caught. And he is training that customer to think that is not the correct way.
Okay.
The correct way is mulching.
Yeah. And that's the correct way for him, not for the customer. So, I don't know. It's like each to their own. But I sort of read that and I saw that.
Oh, slap dick's on here. Only 51 minutes ago, Mr. Alistair slap dick Duncan. I kind of think of it like a quote from the Pacific. Never run when you can walk. Never walk when you can stand. Never stand when you can sit. Never sit when you can lay down. Never lay down when you can sleep. And never pass a supply of clean water. Never catch when you can side throw. Never side throw when you can mulch. Spring I catch because too weekly is bullshit and I can't make it tidy because it's usually too wet. Soon as it dries up a bit, I side throw. Then about December to the next spring, I mulch. So, pretty reasonable comments.
Yeah, so I know that he does a lot of different, like he does, I think, fescues and shit like that. He has different grass types again because he's not in Australia. But, man, reasonable comment.
I mean, look, for the most part, I kind of agree with it. Like, if you are sort of quoting a job and you don't have to catch, and you can do the job 100% to the level, then sure, why catch it? Look, I think that we know that he's structured his business around stand-on mowers and ride-on mowing. I don't know how much push mowing he actually does. But yeah, pretty reasonable comment. And that's actually the last comment. So,
damn.
I'm not going to look at any more notifications.
Fuck.
I don't know if people are getting bored with this or if this has been good content.
I don't know how long we got. Maybe we can split this into two.
Possibly. Look, I love this topic. I love breaking it all down. I
love the feedback. That's fucking awesome that we can do that. Maybe we'll...
Yeah, man, if we're ever reaching for content again, we'll just get the homies over at LMCA to
give us what we need.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Before we put a bow on it, is there anything that you want to add, pal?
Mate, I'm all good, hey. Like, I'm just waiting for this cool weather to kick in so I can actually take a breather. I need a holiday, bro. I know I just got back from Melbourne, but fuck me, that was hectic. That was a lot of alcohol.
You needed a holiday from your holiday.
Right? I've not drunk that much alcohol. I reckon I was feeling a bit, how you going for a good couple of days.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Okay, before we wrap this one up and put the final bow on it, I want to say thank you to everybody who contributed it in LMCA.
Yeah.
Whether your comments were either for or against any concept.
Yep.
I think they're all valid.
Yeah. I love this topic. It's something different that everybody sort of has a little bit of a different view on.
And absolutely. And I genuinely want everyone in LMCA to have successful businesses.
Yeah.
And whatever they think, if they have a 100% mulching business, that I hope that potentially we have made them see that, hey, yes, you could be running a super successful business. There are other client opportunities out there, like your high premium clients that you can get a lot of self-satisfaction out of.
Yep.
And to the people that are just straight up catching, you know, you could be able to, you know, find an easier way to do some of those jobs.
Yeah, take that catcher off. Put a blocker on. Give it a go.
Or maybe run a mulch kit 2 days a week. Or, you know, there's things that can be done. So whatever the concept is and whatever the business structure is, you know, I think there is always another way.
Yeah. Try new things.
Yeah.
In the bedroom. No.
All right, thanks everyone. I'm Ben from Catch Pro.
I'm BJ from TBL Property Maintenance.
And we are out of time. Thank you.
Peace.